So once you get to know yourself better, once you get to fill your own cup, then you are able to be more present, to just be yourself authentically, which I know we have been talking a lot in our sessions as well, in our container. And
Yeah.
it's true, just being yourself and being vulnerable. That is something that I have practiced with my own son.
Welcome to Mindset Mastery Podcast, where we explore the intersections of motherhood and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, and in each episode, we're diving into mindset, emotional regulation, and the real stories of mom entrepreneurs navigating both business and family life. Let's get into it. All right, you guys. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Nathaly Mora. She is the CEO and founder of Nathaly Mora Coaching, where she specializes in helping mothers rebuild and heal their relationships with their children. She is currently a student of mine. She is such a beautiful woman with so many skill sets, and she brings so much to the table. We speak about many things today. Within her business, she has a deep understanding of the challenges faced by moms feeling disconnected or overwhelmed. Nathaly offers compassionate guidance and practical strategies to enhance communication, foster connection, and address past wounds that may affect their parenting. We definitely talk about that today in the episode, and this is a beautiful perspective of a woman who is following her dreams, who built her business on the foundation of some hardships that were happening in her life, how she made them better, and now how she's helping other moms do the same. It is a beautiful conversation. We talk about juggling motherhood and business, all the things. You're going to want to tap into this episode. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the conversation. Okay, you guys, I am so excited to have Nathaly here today with us. She is actually one of my current students. We have a really cool introductory way of how we kind of aligned and met. And she's someone who divine intervention was perfect as a client, perfect for someone that I needed in my business to also support me. And yeah, I'm excited to get everyone here to let them know more about what you do and what your mastery is, and talk about your journey and how it's led you to what you do now. So, Nathaly, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Julissa. I'm actually very excited. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm ready. Let's do this.
Do it. Okay. Okay. So first and foremost, I think I would love, because, in this season 2 of our podcast, we're doing all things how we juggle motherhood and business. And I'm also always giving like a splash of spirituality and like how all of that meshes with our businesses and who we are as people. And I don't remember how you found me. I'm sure you can fill in the blank, but I remember feeling that you were literally brought to me in divine timing because I was looking for someone who had experience working with moms, which was you, and that could support me later in the business and I'll get into the reasons why later, but how did you find me and did you feel the same way when you found me?
Yes. So I was on Instagram. I started my business a couple years ago, and I was still kind of like trying to find my way through, just moving from this entrepreneur and just starting. And so I was looking for other coaches that were doing something similar to what I'm doing. And then you actually pop up on my Instagram, and I started reviewing your videos, looking at what you were sharing. And I was like, oh, this sounds, I connected with you. I felt that connection immediately. The way that you were speaking, very like open, very just direct to the point, and just giving a lot of different tips and recommendations here and there. And so I liked it. And I started for a few days. I was just following you, looking at your content, and then just kind of like getting ideas and understanding, oh, this is something that you do. I like it. Maybe something I can even implement for my own business. We kind of have the same audience, right? Moms. And so I was like, oh, this is something that I really thought we were connected in a way. And then I
Um,
decided to just send you a message, and I send you that message and I say, hi, Julissa, really impressed with what you do. I
Yeah.
am actually starting my own business. I'm doing the same. I do have a couple of clients, and I feel like I would like to connect with you a little bit more. And if there is anything I can do to help you, please let me know. And that
Yeah.
was it. And that's when you, I think it was like a day later, you reached out to me and you said, I think this is divine time. I was actually looking for a coach, and here you are popping on my Instagram. That's how it started.
Oh my God. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. It was so I'm sharing this beautiful piece to how we met because a lot of things in business have to be structured. There's a lot of masculine planning, organization that has to come with a business. But then the other side too is also the divine feminine, which is more flow, intuition, attracting those that you want in your sphere at that time. And literally right before Nathaly DM'd me, I was I had an au pair. If you listen to my previous episode, you'll hear more about that information. And we were trying to figure out like what is best for our family at this time. And in my season of entrepreneurship right now, I'm looking for more support, more team support, so that I can go ahead and spend more time with my little ones. To be frank, like that's my goal right now, you know. And I was like, okay, I've now run my motherhood program like I think like 6 or 7 times. It works. It has proof of concept. It's getting better and better every round. I'm ready to now introduce a supportive coach to help me with these clientele. And I remember thinking, like, it can't just be a regular coach or a regular therapist. Like, it has to be someone who specializes in working with moms. And then you DM me, and I was like, well,
Mhm.
here we go. And I was like, wow, I was like, thank you, universe. And I'm like, yes, let's connect. And that was my only intention. I'm like, let me get to know this woman. Let me see what she's about, who she is. And we connected, we hit it off right off the bat.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, this feels really good. And I just so happened to also be enrolling for my entrepreneurship program. And I was like, hey, let's work together. You can be my student. You can learn more about business, better the ins and outs, perfect your craft kind of thing as a business owner, not on what you do. And you know what? I teach you and you can help me too. And so we built a beautiful
Mhm.
contract where she's in the program and she's also going to be helping me with my clients. So it was a beautiful energetic exchange. And so I'm sharing the behind the scenes to show you like how fun and fruitful and dynamic a business can feel when you're the owner and you get to do what feels good for you and your company. And so yeah, that's how we're here. And now yeah, Nathaly get to support us in the next round of programs that I have coming up for mamas. So I'm super excited about that. Nathaly, how do you feel about how everything went down?
Oh, I loved it. I was so excited when you reached out to me and you said I actually was thinking about, someone like you. And then when we talked and we just hit it up right away. And I was so excited because I see this as an opportunity to continue to build, obviously my skills to be able to work with the moms, which is what I'm passionate about. I
Yeah.
get to learn from you. You've been in the business longer than me. You've done it, so I get to learn from you, which I appreciate tremendously. You've definitely been that support and that help that it's definitely pushing me and just helping me to get to the next level, which is what I'm doing this. And excited to meet the moms on your in your container in your program, because we're gonna every mom is a different experience, and you get to learn so much from their own experience. That is what I take as dear and near to my heart, and just be able to support them, because I feel like, especially like the moms that I help as well, Latinas, and some of us, we don't really have that support here. We live in the United States, we don't have that support, and I feel like it's so important to find that kind of like family where you can be yourself and just be able to be vulnerable and open. And the
Yeah.
fact that I get to do this just like yourself, it's so rewarding.
Yeah, let's talk more about your business because I have absolutely like when I say that I love my clients, like I really mean like I love the work that I do. I love supporting my clients and the work that you and I have been doing together. It's been becoming really clear on what your niche is and who you're really serving at this time and the messaging that comes behind that. And so yes, proudly you are serving Latina moms. And so I want to like give some insight to that too. Like, it's something so empowering to be able to say that I help X people. And a lot of business owners will usually have the fear of like, wait a second, am I going to leave everybody else out? Am I going to hurt somebody's feelings? And as you know, what I always teach is that there, we're all these special, unique creatures, human beings, and we all have divine gifts. And there's like, how many other therapists are there? I'm like one in a million, right? But the work that I do is very, very catered. It's very different. I'm also in the coaching realm, but regardless, um, if I wasn't if I didn't stand 10 toes deep into what I am really passionate about, then people wouldn't get my special sauce, which is so helpful for the specific person that's looking for that kind of help at that time. So we did the work for you too. We worked together, and you found out that you really want to help moms in the Latino community, which is so
Mhm.
beautiful. How
Yes.
has that shift felt for you? Like really owning it. Now all of your content is in Spanish. Yo, she's killing it. You're gonna get all her information at the end or in the show notes. But you're killing it. How does that feel for you now, speaking your native language and just connecting with, yeah, more Latinos?
It's amazing. I have to say that it has definitely helped me to have more clarity on who I'm helping. I want to say that my business has definitely evolved, and like you said at the beginning, I was like, I want to help all moms. I don't want
Mhm.
to leave anyone out,
Out,
like you
yeah.
said. And then I realized that the clients that I was getting and the moms that I work with, they're actually Latinas. They live in the United States. Most of them have sons. I do have some moms that have daughters as well, but it just started to kind of like become more clear to me. Okay, they are bilingual, so which is why at the beginning my content was in English, but then I
Mhm.
knew I felt more comfortable speaking in my native language, Spanish, and just being able to just put that Latina flavor with it's like some Spanish here, some English there, but that helped me to understand that have more clarity on who my client is, who my moms are, the ones that are gonna
Ah,
relate to my message, the ones that are going to understand what I'm doing here, what I'm talking about. It's just a different background, different cultures, and there is a lot of us here that we live in the United States. We're raising our kids here, and it's completely different to our own upbringing, right? The way that we were raised in our own countries and our culture. So
yeah.
identifying that has helped me to know, yes, the message is more clear now for who I am targeting and who it's going to really benefit from what I'm doing. And so it's the Latinos mom that want to rebuild the relationship with their children. And
Yeah.
that's
Specifically
very
with their
key.
sons.
Yes.
Specifically with their sons. Yes.
Specifically with their sons, yes, it's
Yeah.
mainly because of my own experience as a mom
Yeah.
and raising my own son. So I obviously migrated 16 years ago to the United States, and then not having really my family here, so I didn't have that support system, and then just a lot of things that were happening in my own personal life were impacting my relationship with my son. So it wasn't always like that at the beginning. It was fine. He was a baby. Everything was good, but then as he was starting to grow and then be more independent and just starting to like have his own voice, then
Mhm.
that's when I started to notice that we weren't really having that connection. And it was mainly to my own challenges as a mom, just kind of like that um, doubting myself and just trying to be the best mom that I could be, but also with what was happening in my personal life, right? So that's kind of like how this has started, and this is how I know that I want to help the Latinas mom in that
Yeah.
community specifically.
Beautiful. So, so beautiful, right? Like if you're a mom who is of Latin descent, and you also have a son that you're struggling with, like you would be hearing this episode and think like, wow, this is the perfect person to help me. We want that. As business owners, we want clarity. Sometimes we're such high, overachievers, and we do all the things and then we try to say it all out there, and then people are like, wait, so what is it exactly that you do? And people can look up to you and think like, wow, you're so inspirational, I love what you're doing. But if there's not clarity in who you are serving, it's really confusing for people to know, like, is she
Mhm.
the person to help me, or do I just want to follow her because she's inspirational? It's two very different things, right? And
Right.
so you want your messaging to be clear. And I'm so happy that you were able to really, it's not just about, it is about the clarity, but it's also how you feel as the business owner owning that without fear, right? It's like a
Mm-hmm.
little bit like, ooh, I don't want to be mean. But then it's also like, no, imagine how many um Latino moms you're gonna be helping because of this decision, right? And they need that. We need that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited for you. Okay, so we gained clarity on that, and that came with a lot of inner work, which already is such a huge part of this leadership training process that happens as you become an entrepreneur. Of how can I, manage my emotions well, while also being a savvy business owner, being able to implement more of the masculine traits of business while also juggling my emotions, right? Like, I think the more that I teach about it and even reflect on it for myself, I become more and more lovingly obsessed of like how deeply rooted and intermixed emotions come with being a really good business owner,
Agree.
right?
I agree. Absolutely. It's just juggling both, right? And then it's not easy. I am a single mom, and I know there are a lot of single moms out there, and it's just trying to be a good mom, trying to be a good woman, friend, daughter, even my own, CEO, business owner, and then
Mhm.
finding time for everything. So those are kind of like a lot of the challenges that all of the moms we all face when we're trying to, like, okay, now I'm a mom. This is not just about me. There's someone else that depends on me. And how do I do this? I
Mhm.
feel like becoming a mom doesn't have a manual, and you just learn as you go. And you
Mhm.
can have a lot of people telling you how it's going to be. Oh, this is how it's going to look like. But at the end of the day, is your own experience, is under your own circumstances. And I think, like, and I know this from my own experience and with working with my clients, we all have our unique, like, stories and
Yeah.
experience. And just trying to understand how to balance that, it definitely takes time. But
Yes,
definitely
agree.
what I do with the moms, and I do it myself, is just trying to find that time for yourself, putting
Yes.
yourself first. And that's something that I want to say, with our background and our culture, that it's not really what we're being told. It's more like put everybody else first, make sure everyone else is good first, make sure that you're taking care of the house, your partner, your kids, your family. And then if you have time and energy, then
It's
if
yeah.
exactly, then take care of yourself. So I feel like that was something that was big for me when you were talking about the inner work. That's something, it's a journey that it started, especially when I became a mom. Understanding that I needed to heal my own wounds, my past, and understanding that I needed to put myself first, not just being selfish, but because I really wanted to thrive as a mom, I needed to
Yes.
understand that, and just removing that feeling guilty when putting myself first, and knowing that it is important. Is the only way it's one of the most important ways that you're gonna be able to just recharge, be yourself, be more present, and that ultimately it's going to show. Your kids are gonna see it, and they're going to start responding to that good energy when you are with them. So that's I feel like that's like the first step. It's just being aware of those wounds from the past that kind of, like, take you
Affect
to where you
everything.
are now. Yes.
Yes, yes. So I support all of that wholeheartedly. There, and it really brings up the great topic of, for me, how I always teach that, business and motherhood for me are really similar for the emotional gymnastics that we have to do in both roles, right? And so you were saying that every mama is different, which they are. Every beautiful human is different.
Mhm.
And the reason being is, like, we can both experience motherhood, we can both experience hardships, the same exact hardships, but it is determined on the perspective of the individual to then see how they perceive it, right? And that's based on your upbringing, your past traumas or hardships, your mindset, the way that you view things, your resiliency, like, and all of that is beautifully complicated, because it has like cultural disposition of like how you grew up, who taught you things, like
Mhm.
who were you surrounded by when you who was actually taking care of you, and it's not a this is good, this is bad. It's just a beautiful mixture of things that all what's the word I'm looking for? It causes a ripple effect on the way that you handle life today. And so when you say that every mama is different, yeah, 1000%, because the inner work that we have to do to help somebody is to help them better understand themselves, which
Mhm.
you do a great job in doing when supporting your mamas, right? And so for me, that same work has to happen when you run a business. Like when, clients don't show up or they're late or they miss a payment or your launch flops or you're nervous about putting your stuff out there, like that's all inner work,
Mhm.
right? That's all emotional regulation skills, right? And so I've been speaking more about this pivot I've told you ladies about it too. This pivot that I've been doing in my business, that it feels really good for me to now combine both because they're so similar, right? And this life gets to be a beautiful reflection of how well do you know yourself, right? Even in relationships, but you're also teaching that to your mamas
Absolutely.
too, right? With your partner, just like how well do you know yourself to know how you can better work with someone else, whether it's a child, a partner, a colleague, um, business partnerships, whatever may have you. You have to be a master of your emotions and an understanding of self through the hardships.
Absolutely. It's just once you are aware of that, it just opens the doors for so many good things to come to your life. And like you were saying, I do obviously my main focus is rebuilding the relationship with children, but it doesn't stop there. It opens the door and it starts a ripple effect, like you said, in every other area in your life. So once you get to know yourself better, once you get to fill your own cup, then you are able to be more present, to just be yourself authentically, which I know we have been talking a lot in our sessions as well, in our container. And
Yeah.
it's true, just being yourself and being vulnerable, that it's something that I have practiced with my own son. And
Mm,
I can tell you how much and how proud I feel of doing that with him, just being open and transparent, just letting him know, hey, mommy is sad today, or mommy is
yeah.
happy today, or something happened at work, and just being honest, open with him, where he understands it is okay to go through the emotions. We are all humans, we have emotions, we have our own feelings, but what they don't have is they don't have the tools to like actually navigate through those emotions yet.
Mm,
And I feel like that's our responsibility as the mom, to
yep.
just teach them and give them, provide them with the necessary tools for them to navigate through their own emotions. It's not a stopping them. I feel that has been, the mistake that we made in the past, and it
Yes.
comes from years where we are just not just hide your emotions, don't pay attention to them. And I just feel like
Mhm.
emotions are such a beautiful like warning from your spirit, your
Yes.
body telling you something is not right.
Something's
That's
not
it.
right.
Something is not
Yeah.
right.
Or this
And then
is
it's
how we feel, actually.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
And so it's teaching him, I'm sad today. It has nothing to do with you.
Mm,
Something happened at work, or in my personal life with my, my partner, whatever it is that is happening with me during, throughout the week or that day. I'm so open with him and I let him know this is not about you, because I feel like that's another part where we just, whenever someone asks, how are you doing? Oh, we're good. But then inside, we're like, we're not. And it's
mm,
just being that open yourself and being vulnerable. I'm not doing okay. But why, mom? I had a very stressful day at work, and, it has nothing to do with you. So that's how we start teaching them to,
mm,
like, giving them the tools for them to be able to manage their emotions, go through them, just experience them, know that it is okay to feel bad or feel sad or whatever it is that they're experiencing. And then understanding, because they are humans too, just like us. And I feel like that's something that hasn't been really, I know we're like people are. talking a lot more
Aware.
about this and of being aware
Yes.
now lately. But it's
Yeah.
this still a long, I feel like a long journey to like
Yeah.
really get there where they understand that too.
Absolutely. It's one thing to, it's definitely being talked about more, which I'm so happy about.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's another thing to put it into practice, right? That's the hard part, right? I always said, like, even me,
Yes.
as I've been in the field for like over 10 years doing this work and outside of motherhood for other people. And I still struggle with this, I do have grand insight. I definitely am, I practice what I preach, but I'm not a robot, nor am I perfect. And so there are times where I lose my cool, or you're blinded by your own
Mm-hmm.
triggers, and that's the inner work, right? It's like you know what technically is supposed to be done, but something is happening within the interaction between you and your child that is triggering an alarm in you, and like you're not able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it takes the deep reflecting of like, what is going on with me? Why am I
Yes.
losing my patience? Why is this making me very irritable? What is this teaching me about myself? Which thus for me, triggers are always, it's just an invitation inward. It's like, what more can you learn about
Mm-hmm.
yourself this go round? Right. Hey mamas, real quick, are you trying to juggle motherhood and that burning desire to launch your business? Well, I've got something just for you. I'm hosting a free webinar that dives deep into how you can master motherhood and entrepreneurship. Yes, you can do both. I'll be sharing the same actionable steps that I've used to help countless moms launch their businesses while staying grounded and connected to their families. If you've been feeling the pull to start that business and you don't know where to begin, or you're struggling to balance it all, this webinar is for you. In this webinar, we'll unpack those mindset blocks, get you calm, confident, and ready to thrive as a mom and a business owner. Head to the show notes to save your seat. It's totally free. You don't want to miss this. Let's do this together, mama. Join the webinar. The link is in our show notes. I have two like things that I want to bring from this. Because in this segment, we're also speaking about like how we're juggling business and motherhood. And I think you do such a great job of carving out time of like, this is just me and my son time. You are so good with that. But before we go into there, I also wanted to bring to light like this cultural piece of what I've experienced as someone of Latino parents, and probably super common. This notion, it's done with good intention, but like, no, 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 it's okay. Like if the child is crying or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yes.
And I've said it before on the podcast, I think, but and I told this to my mom too, in a joking but like serious way. My mom, she does it out of good intentions. And when I was pregnant for the first time, she told me it was gonna be like it wouldn't hurt kind of thing. Logically, I knew it was going to be painful, but then I remember thinking like being able to love and study and observe my family. I had a drive-through baby shower because it was COVID. So all my family like drove in their cars, they
Mm-hmm.
honked the horn and stuff like that, when I was pregnant with Marcus. And we all had our masks on. And I remember my older aunt, Tia Susana, so my mom is one of nine, and she's the baby. So a lot of my older aunts are like much, much older.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anywho, she came to hug me. And I remember her saying, like, don't worry about it, Julissa. Like, it's just a 1, 2, 3, whoop, and the baby's gonna come out, and I'm like, I laughed, I giggled. It's wholesome, it's endearing, it's part of our culture. Like I get it, and I'm not mad when things like that happen. I think as the next generation and someone like me, like who was born and raised in New York, like in America, like I'm taking the cultural traditions of my family and now blending it with the
Mm-hmm.
American culture. And knowing, just being a little bit, I don't want to say wiser, like my elders aren't wise, but we're just tweaking things, right? And so now, my parents recently came to visit me and my family. We just moved and they came to celebrate our birthdays, me and my daughter. And what was I gonna say? My mom went into the same habit pattern of like let's just give, my son Marcus like an iPad if he's just like, losing his cool at a restaurant, or it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You don't have to cry, and like just like a gentle reminder of like, no, it's actually okay if they cry.
Mhm.
I want them to experience their emotions. Like, yes, it might be uncomfortable as a loving grandparent to see
Yes.
your grandchild in distress. And like, no, I don't wish that upon them, but I do know the beneficial factors that come with feeling your feelings and having
Mhm.
them learn how to emotionally regulate instead of just fixing it for them.
Absolutely. I feel like what you were saying, I can completely relate to it. It's something that our parents, and as you were talking, I'm also thinking, yeah, that's where the validation comes from. Validating their own emotions and feelings, letting them being uncomfortable. I feel like as parents, we just want to protect our kids so much, just put them in the little bubble where nothing hurts and everything is perfect. But in
Yeah.
reality, is not, right? And so if what we're telling them is that everything's perfect, if you fall and then your knee is bleeding, oh, it's okay, don't worry, it's not painful, but it is
Mhm.
painful, and for them it's painful, but we just try to like take away the pain and just like make sure that they don't feel it, put them back in the bubble, you're okay, yes, your knee is bleeding, but don't worry, it doesn't matter, it's
Yeah.
gonna heal tomorrow. But it's just validating that in the process and letting them know, when I was little, I felt too. It hurts. I understand. Let's take
Mhm.
care of it. What can we do? And just help them at the same time to go through the emotions, but also find their own like answers and being able to identify, okay, what can you do to feel better? And that's part of it. It's part of the process. But I agree, our moms, and they do it with the best intention,
That's
our parents,
intention.
best
Yeah.
intention. And I also wanted to share with you because that's another reason why, I'm doing what I'm doing with the moms. And it has to do with my own experience with my mom. As I was growing up, I didn't really have a very connected relationship with her. And now I can see when I became a mom, Sebastian was just mirroring a lot of that. He's my son. And he was mirroring a lot of that disconnect, those disconnect patterns. And that's what kind of like really brought up to light. And I was able to see it and be, this is not what I want. I don't want my son and myself to have the same relationship I had with my mom. I want to do better. I want to be able to change that. And that's when I was able to say, I want to stop this. I want to be a better mom. Not that my mom wasn't. It was just different. And now I get to see it from both ends, from the daughter who didn't have a really connected relationship with my mom, and understanding how that impacted my life and how that was being projected in my role now as a mom on my own, and deciding to, I want to do it differently. I want to change that. And I want to make sure that my son knows that I'm a safe space, that he can come to me whenever, regardless, that I'm not going to be mad at him. Because what we do is family should be that safe space, and sometimes without even knowing it, we're pushing them away where they just rather to go with their friends or someone else that they don't really know as much, and these are the people that are actually giving them advice or telling them what to do, when in reality, you will hope that they will come to you, the safe space.
Mhm.
And that's part of what I do with the moms, is just to provide them with that safe space where the moms can be vulnerable, they're not going to be judged, and we can work together to be able to just build that relationship where her, like the mom and the son or the daughter, feel comfortable enough to come to each other and know that they have that loving, very strong, healthy relationship. So that's also part of it. It's understanding how our culture, upbringing, everything just comes together. And like I said, from my own personal experience, it comes from understanding how the daughter feels when she doesn't have that healthy relationship with the mom, but also understanding now how the mom feels when you don't have a good, healthy relationship with your kids.
Yeah, yeah. Also important, and it even brings more light to like how beautiful it is, a service that you do provide to your clients, and how vital that is. And with your specific people that you're helping, it's like this is so needed. People that can relate to your story, like it's just you get that personal touch within your coaching container because you are an expert in this field and you have the
Mhm.
personal experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
amazing. Feel so
Yeah.
lucky to do that.
We're so lucky.
We
Like we're
are.
so lucky, you know? And so this is a good pivot into the where we were talking earlier about, how do we juggle business and motherhood? And it's been something that's been really inspiring for me to speak about because I think that for a long time, I think people this is not a bad thing, but like they kind of like put you on a pedestal, especially on social media. Like, you get the highlight reel of things. And so I always try my best to just be honest of like, yes, I do have a beautiful, abundant, rich life where it is so fruitful and I'm so grateful. And there's hardships like all the time. There's duality in all the things. And I think for a long time, I was separating like who I was as a business owner and then who I was as a mom. And then for me personally, I'm like, well, this is my life. Like my life is both all the time. My life is
Mhm.
finding balance all the time in both worlds, juggling my emotions in both worlds, like all the time. And so I simply want to shed more light on that. And so in this season of the podcast, we're doing that. So I'm interviewing beautiful women like yourself who are doing just that. And so tell us a little bit about you. What I love about you is your unwavering time that you have for your son,
Yes.
right? And so how did that come about? Like, how did you get to that routine or that place of, I guess, just like value of like, this is what I'm doing no matter what?
Well, I have to tell you that that wasn't always the case, right? Before, there were times where I didn't really enjoy having that time. I was frustrated. I wasn't in a good mindset and mental and place where I, there were times where I just wanted to stay at work. I didn't even wanted to come home because it was hard. Me and my son, we were arguing, and this has a lot to do with my what was happening in my personal life with my ex-partner, but that was also impacting my relationship with my son. And then there were times where we were arguing all the time, just fighting. It got to the point where I will come home and he'll be just like, hi, not even like a good, oh, excited to see me. And then that will also make me feel like I'm not doing a good job as a mom. I'm not doing what I need to do, and doubt myself. And I was going through a very sad time. I was depressed. Obviously, I didn't have the energy to like really spend quality time with him. And so that was not something that was happening. And then when I started my journey, when I was going through my healing, I knew that that was one of the main things I wanted to change with him. I wanted to be fully present for him. I wanted to enjoy activities that we both enjoy. I am I love adventures. I like to go be outdoors. And he does like the same, or a lot of the things are very similar to what we like. There's one specific activity that we love that we have in common, and is basketball. This is a
Oh,
fun fact. I used to play basketball in college,
I
back in
didn't know
Colombia.
that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I play
This
basketball in
woman does
Colombia.
it all. You've done so much. Okay, this is so
Thank you.
interesting.
So I used to play basketball in Colombia. That's how I went to school. That's how I paid for my college and everything.
Oh my
And so
God. Oh, wow.
when I
Okay.
moved to the United States, um, I actually was, in my previous job, I was part of a league. It was just men. But I wanted to play basketball, and I wanted to continue to do what I like. And so I decided to play with them as well. And it was I was the only one. And so guys will look at me like, what are you doing here? But I used to play basketball and I used to do it. And so that is something that it's kind of like my hobby. I love it. I know whenever I tell people, they're like, what? Just like you did.
Yeah.
But it's nice. And so my son, when he
Okay,
was
we need
born,
content of you doing that.
that
Okay.
with
With the
basketball.
basketball. Yes.
Oh, well, I started playing since I was 11 years old in Colombia, and I loved it. And so when I went to college, I was able to be part of the team, at my university. And I was playing, part of the team. I played for 5 years. That was, my what college lasted. 5 years. I do have a background in psychology. I have my degree in psychology. And so that's how I was able to pay for college because I was getting my scholarship. Obviously, we're having, good grades and also playing basketball. And I
Mm.
always loved it. My family, this runs in the family. Everyone in my family plays basketball.
Oh, wow.
Yes, my mom, my brother, my dad, and that was part of how that was part of my upbringing, and I was very proud. I was very focused because that helped me to keep focused, being focused on my
Mm.
career. And then I moved here, and I didn't have a place where to play basketball. And luckily for me, when I was at work, there was a league, but it was only men.
Mm.
And I went and I asked and said, I want to play too. And they were shocked. I said, can I play? Or is this just like men? They're like, no, I guess no one else had asked before if they can join. So, but I want to play. They say yes. I think they say yes just to not say not to me. But then I went, we started playing in the league, and I am a good basketball player.
Mhm.
So when they saw me playing, then it got to the point where they will come all that my team play, like my teammates will come to me and say, "You're coming right to the next game. We want to see you there." And it was fun, and they will always invite me. Up to this day, they still invite me to go play
I
basketball.
love that. Oh my
um,
God.
so my son, when he was like 2 years old, I got him a basketball hoop, and he started practicing. But then all of a sudden, when he was like 3, 4 years old, he didn't want to do anything about basketball. And then when he and I was sad because I was like, oh, I thought this was the one thing we had, like that we could do. Things changed, like I said, going through my experience, my personal experience. And then one day when he was about 8 years old, he came to me and said, Mom, I want to play basketball again. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And ever since, that's his favorite sport. He loves it. He plays basketball too. So we have that one activity in common that we both love, and I'm always there at his basketball games. So, like I said, I love being outdoors. So, basketball is number one, playing every weekend, going to every single game. I'm always there to support him. And I'm so proud to see him. And he loves it. He comes to me and he asks me, Mommy, how do I do this? Am I doing this right? Or how can I improve? Going to the park. That's when you were asking me. Whenever it's time for my son, I know that that's priority. I want him to know that I was there, that I'm present, not just with basketball, anything else that we want to do, just going out on trips, going on adventures, doing rafting, which was the last activity that we did. I posted a few things on my
Yes.
on my Instagram, and just being fully present for him. I feel like that makes such a difference when you're there, and it's like giving them your undivided attention. It's not just like on your phone and just listening to them. It's undivided attention where they know that they are the
It's
most important
important.
thing for you, even if it's for
Yes.
5 minutes. That's it.
Yes.
Yes, that's something that I really love to do with him, and he knows it. And he sometimes I tell him I need to take time, take advantage of the time now because he's gonna grow up and then he's gonna have friends, a girlfriend. He's gonna go away, no much time for mom. And I tell him that. So I said I want to take advantage of this and really enjoy the time. And he actually, something that he does is sometimes when he's like, Mom, can we play or can we do this? And I'm like, oh, no, right now. Mom, just remember, I'm going to grow up and then we're
Oh
not going to
God.
have time to spend together.
No.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, you're right. Let me finish
Oh.
this. And then full undivided attention for
And
him.
how old is he so the listeners know how
It is 11 and a half now.
11 and a half. Oh, so fun. Wow, that's so beautiful because, and you're also sharing so vulnerably, which I love and I'm very proud of you for because that's something that we also have been working on. And like,
Yes,
look how
yeah.
personable it makes the conversation. People get to really know you better. And yeah, your beautiful story of like, yeah, you were going through hardships. And I think also like on an energetic and spiritual level, I think it's so interesting how during the time of your hardship, he decided to disconnect to the one thing that you were so passionate about that's within your family, right? Almost like, there's no, I can't say there's any like thing that I can say that to back it up with certainty, but I think it's such a beautiful coincidence that at the time where you were kind of going through your own identity and figuring out what you wanted, he stepped
Mhm.
away from the one thing that you guys had in common, which was basketball. I'm sure other things too, but that was a big part of your identity. And then to then ask when you're a little bit better on your feet, more grounded, mental health is like stable and things of that sort. He's like, yeah, I want back in. To me, it's like that can't be a coincidence. It's just beautiful, like on an energetic level without even knowing or trying. We also communicate as human beings and as,
Mhm.
members within the same family unit. And look at all that you're doing for your son and for yourself and how it's affecting your son in the most positive way. So thank you for
Definitely.
sharing.
You're,
Yeah.
yes, and another thing that I share with him is he knows what I do with the moms. He asks about it.
Mhm.
He's asking me, "Mommy, so how many clients do you have?" And then I
Yes.
tell him little stories. Of course, I don't go into like all the details, but I tell him, "Oh, I help another mom, and now they're having a better relationship with their son as well. It makes me happy." He's like,
Mhm.
"Mommy, I'm really proud of you," and he says this all the time. And that right there, it makes the
Everything.
difference. It makes the
Yeah.
difference, and so setting the example for him as well, that we are here to give back as well, whatever I learn and I've been learning with him. And I tell him, you remember how I used to be with us, and you see how we are now. Well, I'm doing the same with another mom, so we're helping another
Oh,
family, and you are, if not the most important reason why I'm doing this, because he is. I
yeah.
tell him, and this is, you have no idea how many lives you are helping me to change as well, because it comes from our experience together. And I let him know that he has a lot to do with this, and how we are impacting positively other families and other moms and other sons that can heal their relationship and just have um, that bond, that connection.
Yeah, so, so incredibly sweet and beautiful. I hope he listened to this podcast, at least this little section right here, because yeah, all
Yeah.
for you, right? All for us, and what you're doing, and yeah, so, so beautiful. Okay. All right, girly. So at this portion of the episode, we usually reserve some space for um vulnerability, which you've been doing, so we're just going to continue it. Any hardships that you're currently going through right now that I could lend a listening ear to or shed some insight? It could be within motherhood, within business, anything all around, but yeah. Anything that you would like to bring to the table at this time?
Well, I know since we've been talking about motherhood, but also business, right? I know you're being an instrumental part of my business success.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like what I want to continue doing, just being able to, like you said, being vulnerable to show moms and whoever it's going through a similar, situation. I'm still, going through my divorce, and this is still it has been one of the most significant, I guess, experiences in my life. It wasn't easy.
Mhm.
Um, I know a lot of parents, if not most, when it comes to making a decision to leave your partner, usually you stay because of the kids. And
Sure.
in my experience, and I'm sharing from my experience, but from a lot of other moms that I have shared with me, the main reason why I made that decision was my son, because I wanted him to see his parents being happy, even if we weren't together. And I know that's not easy to do. Is That's not the easy way out. I feel like that's almost like the hardest way out, and just understanding. And so that's still part of my process. And after the divorce, just kind of like opening myself to for having another relationship, blending families, bringing my son into another. So those are like kind of like the things that are happening in my life right now, along with the business and helping moms.
Mhm.
So just from you, is it's been, I'm very grateful that you showed up and pop up on my Instagram, because we were able to connect, and how you're being definitely holding space for me to be able to um, thrive in my business, and being able to have more clarity, and continue to progress. So I guess that's where I am right now, and you being there has been a tremendous support. That's another thing. Moms, sometimes when we're going through our hardships and the challenges, we just isolate ourselves. And then it's
Yeah,
hard.
that's
And this is
for
especially from Latina moms as well. It's hard for us to
unfortunate
ask
thing.
for help.
Yeah.
We're being told you can do it all on your own. You're strong. You should be able to fix everything, get everything, put yourself together and do it without asking for help. And I came to realize that that's not the case. Um, you need help, that support system, and you've been part of that support system, so thank you so much for that. And that's what I want to provide to other moms as well, to be that safe space where they can find me as that support, and being able to just guide them and continue to help them to go through that self-discovery process and thrive also as a mom.
Yeah. Let me well, thank you so much for all of the roses that you gave. And I also I receive them, and I am so lucky to be able to support mamas just like you. And I also want to I always state, like, you're the one doing the work, mama. Like, you're the one making this possible. I'm simply a guide. And I take great honor in that role. But the people that come to work with me, you guys are the one doing the work, and so I'm always endlessly proud of you. Let me clarify my question. So thank you for going deeper into vulnerability.
Mhm.
At this segment of the show, I allow for kind of like, do you have any like a question that you would love insight to at this time that you're currently struggling with, that we can showcase to our listeners in real time, of something that we're currently going through?
That's a great question. Think I have anything like in mind, but if anything, I will probably ask, you know, what else is there to do about, besides being authentic and vulnerable, so that you can actually be able to reach to your audience, and the moms that can benefit from your services, since you have done it and you have a lot of practice. That's something that I can definitely, take advantage of and ask you, what else besides, showing up, being vulnerable, your content, what else can I do to continue to reach out to those
Attract
moms?
more of those ideal
Hmm.
clients. Yeah. Okay, great
Correct.
question. Okay, so this is my first like business one. I love this. Okay, so it's usually like all emotions, but um we want to go to networking events that is specifically for your ideal client. Like, for example, here in Charleston, I just found where I buy some of the clothes for my kids. It's like a small shop here. It's like not like a huge brand or like a nationwide brand. And in their store, they host like mom support groups.
Mhm.
Right. So in the time where I was solely focusing on, mental health for moms, I had reached out. I'm like, hey, do you want me to come to one of your support groups, and I'll kind of be a speaker for free, kind of thing. Right. And just show so opportunities like that.
Mhm.
I will say mixing both masculine and feminine. That's a masculine mindset approach of like there is strategy behind what I'm showing up to, but also the feminine interaction with the world and the universe is I'm actively looking to serve more moms at this time.
Mhm.
Universe, show me ways and how I can better do that, right? Show me ways in my local community, show me ways online, show me ways in person. So I think I shared this with you before, but that is always my mindset to serve. Who am I serving at this time? Okay, so for me right now, I'm serving moms in motherhood. I'll share two stories that kind of align with this. Whenever I go to the park, those are my ideal clients. There's a bunch of moms out there. And like, no, I'm not looking to gain a client. But if a mom is asking me specific questions and it just feels right to share what I do, then I will do that.
Mhm.
That's also lead generation. I was getting my nails done this week for my birthday, and I was speaking to another mom. She was older, maybe in like her late 60s. And we were just chatting it up. She moved from Cali to Charleston. We were just having organic conversation. And then
Mhm.
she asked me what I do and how I do it. And by that point, she's already built great rapport with me as a human being. And then I tell her what I do, and she's like, "Oh my God, my daughter has an 18-month, son. She is back at work but doesn't love it. She's looking to do something else." And I'm like, "Oh, well, this is what I do, and blah, blah, blah." I literally help moms in this specific stage of, if they're entertaining the thought of an online business or entrepreneurship, should be a perfect fit for X program. So masculine strategy, you're always looking for opportunities on where does my ideal client hang out? What do they like to do? Where can I meet them halfway? Where can I find more opportunities to mingle with more people like them? Because even if they're not turning into clients, you're gaining data on who
Mhm.
they are, what they like, what they're struggling with, and how you can help them. And then also, the feminine strategy behind that is when you're heart is aligned with grand intention of I simply want to serve. Universe, show me more opportunities like this. They will show up, and it'll be crystal clear as to how you can continue having different forms of lead generation through your authenticity. So I hope that gives a little bit more
Yeah,
light of like how we can do that. And I'll share one
absolutely.
more thing. When you were mentioning the whole basketball thing, I thought of two things. My first thought was like, hello, content. You heard me say that. I'm like, it almost went into a coaching session. I'm like, you need to record that and put that online, right? Because it gives people more of who you are as a person. Like,
Hmm.
I definitely did not get basketball, professional player at that, from who I've been mentoring for the past, like, what, 4 months.
know. It's one of my biggest secret now. I love sharing
Yeah,
it. I never saw the opportunity, but it is
it's a
part
part
of
of
my
who
life
you are.
and who I am
And
with my son.
yes, and for me as your coach at this time, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's why you're so disciplined. It's, so like I love that. And then my other thought was like, well, that's probably also why the universe brought us together because I've been an athlete my whole life. In school and things like that, me and my husband were a part of a co-ed softball league for the past two
Mhm.
years, right? So I'm like, that is another similarity. I'm like, things that is not a coincidence, right? We align for certain reasons, and if that if there's another Latina mom that has a son who's also super athletic and loves sports, if you showcase that, you're simply giving people different entry points of like, do I connect with Nathaly because she's a Latina mom, because she has a son, because she loves sports, because she loves outdoorsy things? Like you're trying to strategic algorithm, right? Of like giving people opportunities of like, let me showcase a different parts of me. You connect with one thing great, it'll lead you to my page, and then you can learn about more about what I do,
Yeah.
right? It's so I think that was a perfect like segue of all the things, right? Of yeah, who we are as people, and
Thank you.
yeah,
Yes.
you're welcome. I hope that was helpful.
It was
So
absolutely.
yeah, so girly, thank you so, so, so much. It was a beautiful conversation. Where can people find you if they are looking to work with you?
Yes, I have my Instagram is Coach Nathaly. That's where I'm more active. Honestly, I post constantly. I do tips. I do show a little bit of my life. There is definitely a lot of content that I've been posting recently, just reintroducing myself and letting moms know what I do so they can find me. They can DM me. Then in my Instagram, I also have a link, but I also have my website is nathalymora.com and Nathaly, Nathaly. That's the way it is, but I know you're going to share all that information.
Yes.
But yeah, they can contact me. They can just reach me. I do have WhatsApp. So I also have a group where, moms can reach out to me
Yep.
and really excited. I do have a lot of things in store, working on, a program that will be coming up soon as well. It's going to be a 10-week program. So working on a lot of things in different ways where I can continue to support moms. They can reach out to me. They can ask. Right now, I do one-on-one virtual conversation sessions, and I do offer different, packages, and they can reach out to me. I always offer the free connecting call where I can learn more about the moms and their needs and what they're looking for, just to make sure that we are the right fit to work together. And so that's how they can reach out to me. But I will say Instagram it's mainly the platform that I use the most.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, you guys heard it here. All of that information is in our show notes. So you can definitely click on the links to find Nathaly, follow her, learn more about her, connect with her. And I so appreciate you coming on this session, this call, not the session, this call with us. For me, I'm like a healer in all things. It's always a session. It's always a session. So yeah, thank you so much, girly. This was a beautiful conversation and so important to have within all the topics that we spoke about. So
Thank
thank
you for
you.
inviting me, for having me. This was amazing. It was a great conversation. As always, every time we get together, it's always a good conversation. So I love it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Thank you. Bye for now, you guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me today on Mindset Mastery Podcast. I hope today's conversation inspired you to embrace your own journey of balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship. Remember, it's all about mastering your mindset to create a life of success and fulfillment in both areas. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more incredible moms just like you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and mastering your mindset.